Even as we enter the second half of October, Mike Reed has yet to climb into a tree stand. He has spent much of his late summer and early fall vacation time hunting elk and mule deer in Colorado. That trip, plus the demands of a busy career and a young family, have kept Mike out of the whitetail woods until now. Not able to resist the itch that no one can fully scratch, Mike heads out for an October 20th hunt on a farm that he helps manage close to his home.
Well, it's Saturday, October 20th, and Cooper and I are all set up for the afternoon hunt here. We have a cold front pushing through, and we got a northwest wind that's 35-40 miles an hour. There's actually a wind advisory out, so we're in a redneck blind. The wind is supposed to die down here before it gets dark, like the last hour of daylight, so hopefully that doesn't suppress the deer movement too much. The temperature is steadily dropping. We're in the 40s right now. By tomorrow morning it's supposed to be in the 20s. So this time of year, this can really kick stuff off. It feels good. It's essentially my first hunt of the year. I actually just got back from a 10-day horseback elk hunt in Colorado. Got a nice 5x5. I got back home at 3 a.m. this morning, slept in, and got ready for this hunt. And here we are sitting out. So we've got about 10 minutes left of legal shooting, and it's been a really nice evening. We saw probably between 10 and 15 does and fawns and 3 bucks. That 8 points, at least a 3.5-year-old. I think that 10 is at least a 4.5-year-old. When I got a close look at him, not a deer I'm interested in shooting right now, but it's fun to see some rut-like activity. He was kind of hounding that doe a little bit. They actually walked a circle all the way around the redneck, which is nice. We've got our scent contained in here and nobody spooked out.
2 days later, and 140 miles to the west, Jared Mills, still trying to figure out where he will hunt when the rut kicks in, heads to one of his new permission farms to scout and check cameras.
Brad and I spent the morning in the office, and we're not hunting this afternoon, but we're checking cards on a few different farms. Right now we're back on this farm that I introduced about a week ago, the one with cattle on it, and the one that I'm going to turn into a big project. And for that reason, I'm going to call this the project farm. Not expecting a whole lot. I didn't find a bunch of scrapes, did see some deer, so if a good buck shows up, it's just a bonus right now. But it's going to take a while to learn this. So I'm going to start pulling cards, anxious to see how many cows we have, and now apparently there's horses here too. There's some horses just up the hill from us, but it's always exciting having the first card pull on a new farm, so let's see what we have. There's a good crossing right here where this fence is down. Dude, that's a shed right there. It's gotta be. Dude. Right on this beat down trail. Discolored, obviously, but solid. Good mass. Look at that brow tine. Just nothing like finding sheds on October 22nd. Hello. Look at the size of the body on that thing. Kidding me. You better go get that one. You spotted her. This thing is a little bit smaller, but that's shed number 3, and all we're doing is driving around in the buggy checking cameras.
Between the trail cam photos and nice sheds, the project farm is now a high priority. Jared decides to come back for a hunt as soon as the conditions are right. That same week, I'm looking for options. Not wanting to burn out the stands next to the house where I've been hunting the Big 7, I decide on a spot on the opposite end of the farm. For this evening's hunt, I'm going into an area that I haven't hunted very much in my whole life, really. I mean, it's a part of the farm that just have not hunted. Gosh, I used to let my friend Mike Sawyer hunt this quite a bit back in the day. And he had some great success back here, but I always had spots closer to the house that I focused in on. So I don't have a real good feel for how the deer move back here, but we are in the neighborhood of 2 bucks that I found on my trail cameras that are mature deer. One of them is a 10-pointer, and I know that deer from last year. We have trail camera pictures of him last year. He's got the scars on his face. It's the same deer, and he hasn't gotten any bigger. And I thought he was probably almost fully mature last year anyway. The other one's an 8 or 9-pointer. I guess he'd be 9 technically, short little G4 on the one side. He looks like a fully mature deer too. I don't know anything about that deer, but he's a pretty cool looking buck. I mean, he's got a nice big frame and definitely would be a good trophy. Either one of them would be good trophies. They're mature bucks, and that's what I'm looking for. The southeast wind should play pretty well on the back end of this big, I guess it's an unpicked soybean field that we're going into, and the drought got us pretty good. So I don't think the combines are going to get to this field this year. It's just not enough here to make it worthwhile. But there's plenty of food here for the deer. So I got a lot of work ahead of me. I drove in and dropped the stands off and drove back out again. So I'm just going to walk in and put those up, and then we'll be hunting. That fawn's only 66. She looks like she's about 80.
Right, G-dude, you know.
It's just a 3-year-old. Right there's the shot. Right there. 27 yards. Down to about the last 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes. And I just called in a nice 3-year-old buck. In fact, I think he's still behind me, just working his way down through that long grass. I could see his rack going across the bean field, and I thought maybe it was one of these 2 deer that we were in here hunting. So I called to him, and he came on a beeline 25 yards away. Would have been perfect if he would have been one of those 2. I do like the way that this 3-year-old was acting, though. He was just out cruising around, you know, checking things out. Pretty typical of what you see this time of the year, so there's no reason why on a cool evening that a 5 or 6-year-old buck wouldn't be doing the same thing. So it's time to start getting a little bit more serious. The best days are right in front of us now, so we need to put together a plan and lock in on what we're going to be doing here. The next day, the 25th of October, Owen makes his second hunt for the giant buck he calls crabs.
Well, guys, October 25th here. It's about 4:30. We've got an east-northeast wind. We're hunting that spot that the crabs buck runs, where I see him all the time down here. We've got 5 does trickling already right here in the corn. It's 6 o'clock now. I love these afternoons where you can barely get time to get an interview in. We've been covered up with deer all evening. They've been all around, right underneath us here. We've got another one coming down here, so we'll see what this is. Fun night so far, man. Fight. Oh yeah, they're gonna go at it. Oh yeah. He's gonna take the fight on short notice. Oh, he ran that buck off. Oh, he's coming back for more though. Sissy. I thought for sure he'd take that fight on short notice. Oh, he is scared to death of him. Come on, Grabs, come out here and show him what's up. What an awesome sit tonight, guys. You know, as the night wore on, I kept getting more and more confident Krabs was going to show up. We had all kinds of bucks out here sparring and does making a ruckus. It had all the makings, boy. I thought it was going to happen, but it was a great sit nonetheless. We'll check the wind direction for tomorrow and get a game plan. We'll be back tomorrow evening.
That same evening, Max Wierda, a Midwest whitetail intern, heads in for his 5th hunt of the season. Over the years, we have brought in dozens of interns at Midwest Whitetail. There is a lot of work involved in this position, but one perk is the occasional opportunity to hunt big deer. Max has invested his precious hunting time learning several of Iowa's public areas. It is to one of these spots that he now heads.
Looks like Jared passed some of his luck on us after all. Oh, look at that, ain't a bad shot. Right in the creek bottom right here. Well, at least we got one side to maybe we can find another that has some rattling horn.
Well, it's the evening of Thursday, October 25, and we're back in the public again tonight. Tonight we decided to get in a big river bottom with a couple big ridges that just filter everything through this river bottom out to a couple crop fields off to our north. And I think we got in here pretty good. It's a pretty big scrape, probably 30 yards behind the tree here, that looked like it was torn up either this morning or last night, so it's a good sign. And it's pretty cool tonight, so hopefully the deer are moving.
Max's hunt starts slow, with a few does and turkey sightings. But with 30 minutes of legal shooting time left, he hears a buck grunting on a nearby ridge.
Such a deep grunt.
Oh, there it is.
Did that really just happen? Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me, dude? Oh my God. that seriously happened? Did this really just happen? Dude, 15 yards right here. We heard those two really deep grunts over here. And then I grunted what? I threw a couple of them out and then I grunted again. Beeline right for the tree. Yes. Oh my gosh, give me something.
That's a nice buck.
The blood trail is thin and sporadic. Finally, Max loses it entirely and decides to come back the next morning when the light will be better. The next morning, the group size has grown. Max, 3 other current interns, Josh Sparks, and past intern Justin Carnes. When doing a carcass search, it pays to have a lot of help. The team sets out to find Max's buck, but are stunned to jump a huge 10-pointer not far from where Max was hunting.
Well, so we just got in here. We can see Max's bag and bow. Mitch and I are probably about 15 minutes behind those guys. So I think you walk this bottom edge. I'll stay on the top of the ridge, but just so you can see in the creek. I think that's good.
All right, I'll get down.
Oh, he's right there, Josh. He's right there. He's right there.
Come here. Let's get Max.
We just found Max's deer. We think that they're up on top of the ridge looking for him.
Yeah.
Josh is gonna call him to get him down here.
He's right there.
That's so cool.
All right, sounds good. Dude, we've been here for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. He's right down there in the creek.
No way, dude. Let's go. That is so sweet.
Awesome, man.
First Iowa bow buck.
Well, it's the following day here, and like you guys saw, we came in here and found him pretty quickly. Dylan, myself, and Hunter were actually on the ridge where we had originally thought he ran up, but Josh and Mitch were right behind me, and they followed this creek bottom up and found him laying right here. So I'm so happy, and it came together perfectly in here, and yeah, I couldn't be more excited.
Calling proved to be the deciding factor in Max's hunt. That is a strategy that we have used with great success over the years. Most deer hunters understand grunting and rattling, but the snort wheeze is rarely used. However, as this 2009 hunt on my farm shows, when the wind is blowing hard, the snort wheeze can make the difference between a distant encounter and a filled tag.
We just got set up here. We got a strong southwest wind. We just had a little spike buck chasing a doe around out below us, so we're gonna sit tight here, see what we see. We're kind of hanging on for dear life. As you can hear, it's blowing about 30, gusting sometimes maybe up to 40. So hang in here with us, and hopefully we can bring you some action.
That.
Oh my Lord, look at his body.
You're gonna have a good time pulling that thing out of there, Johnny.
Hey, big boy.
Look at his ear. Look at the big old rip in his ear.
Yeah, I know, I saw that. See that, Bill?
That's hilarious.
In some situations, like the one Mike Sawyer and John Reynolds encountered, the bucks just can't hear a grunt call. However, the higher pitched notes of the snort wheeze carry better through the woods, and knowing how to make this one simple call can be a great tool in your deer hunting arsenal. Returning to the present, one day after Max's great public land hunt, Owen gives crabs a break and goes back after the reclusive buck he calls Uno.
Alright guys, I'm gonna talk kinda quiet here. We've got some deer running around up here in the corn. We haven't been able to see what they are yet, but it's October 26th and we're back in that infamous Uno blind where we got skunked the last 2 sits, but I noticed coming in there was a lot of tracks, so I feel like they're using this right now a little better. You know, the thing with that Uno buck, he's a tough customer. I don't have access to his whole core area, so I think it's just a matter of catching him in here on the right day. Just need to be in here, take our shots at him. We have not hunted this on a northwest wind, which all these little fingers and draws that are thick with cover are south facing, so I feel like he might bed in here on a north or a northwest wind, so I like our odds tonight, man. We'll sit in here and see what happens.
That same evening, 50 miles to the north, Jared is hunting a different permission farm, this one next to a public bike trail.
It's just about 3:30 in the afternoon of October 26th, and Brad and I are set up. We just did another hanging hunt per usual. We're in a tiny little pin oak tree, and I don't even know that we're 15 feet off the ground, but we got plenty of cover. It's in a really cool spot. We can see most of this standing bean field. This is the same spot that Brad and I came into a couple weeks ago, and it was flooded. The whole bottom bean field was flooded. So obviously the farmer hasn't been in to pick this, but it's dried up pretty good right now, and there's a lot more tracks than there was last time we were here. It may seem like we're bouncing around a little bit, and it's because we are. Just with gaining access this late in the year to these properties and the flood on my farm, my strategy right now is just to sit a lot of observation stands until I A, see something I want to jump in after, or B, get pictures of something good. And it's only a matter of time before something good shows up. We're hitting that good time of year, and it could be any night now. So I'm excited to see. Have no idea what's on this farm. We do have cameras that we might check on the way out, but to this point we don't have any information. So hopefully it's a good evening. I like our setup as long as the wind cooperates. It's one of those nights where the wind is hitting every single cardinal direction. So we just need to cooperate and blow back on this creek that's right behind us. It's about 5:30 right now, and we just had a group of does and a fawn. They came out into the field that we're sitting over, the standing beans, but they wanted nothing to do with these standing beans. So that was interesting, but I keep hearing some stuff back here in the woods, so you can't really see, it's too thick. Hopefully there's more deer coming out on this side. I think if they come out on this side of us, they're more likely to walk by.
Jared's hunt ends with no buck sightings, but on his way out he pulls the card from one of his cuddy-back cameras and finds a really good buck, one that is definitely worth coming back to hunt. Back in the Uno blind, Owen enjoys an action-packed evening.
Man, that 8 was gorgeous. I got the old blood flowing. He's awesome. I think we're about maybe 6:15 right now. We've seen 2 or 3 bucks and a couple of does, so So far as a good sit going, I still feel good about seeing that Uno buck. Bring him on. As the night wore on, I kept getting more and more confident Krabs was going to show up. We had all kinds of bucks out here sparring and does making a ruckus. It had all the makings, boy. I thought it was going to happen, but it was a great sit nonetheless.
Hopefully it'll be a good buck in this area. If not, I imagine at some point this season it will get good whenever they start hitting these beans. It's just too good of an area. Any day now it's going to get good. I love this time of year, and those bucks are going to be out searching pretty soon.
Please answer, Dad. Dad, I just smoked one, I think. Public land, dude. Let's go.
Public land hanging high. Dude, that's awesome.
Tonight, this is not happening.
We're seeing action, but it is more the result of numerous hours in the tree and not the onset of full rut. The whitetail season is like a machine that needs maintenance before it runs smoothly. We are still changing the oil and replacing the fuel filter as we work through the third week of October. We are feeling our way through, gaining a sense of where the action is most likely to happen. Success will ultimately come from being in the right place at the right time. We know when the right time will be, but now we have to figure out where. Day by day, we are gaining a feel for the bucks we are hunting. The machine is starting to sputter to life. We can see the puzzle taking shape as we grow ever closer to the time when we will be chasing November.